Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Please be seated. It is, of course, St. Patrick's Day today. And that brings to my mind, the last time St. Patrick's Day fell on a Sunday, I was serving, this was 2 churches ago for me actually. I was serving at St. Patrick's Episcopal Church in Washington, D.C. as one of the clergy there. And so you can imagine it was a big deal that day. St. Patrick's Day at St. Patrick's on a Sunday. And I will always remember this story. My job was to gather the children of the service, and we took them to the little kids' chapel, and I told them the story of why we celebrate St. Patrick. And I told them about why St. Patrick was so great. And I remember telling them, among the other stories I told them was the story of St. Patrick driving all of the snakes out of Ireland. And he took his stick, and he drove them all to the edge of Ireland and cast the snakes all out and saved the day. And that's part of why St. Patrick is so great. And I looked at the children. They were all slack-jawed. And one of them finally said, "Those poor snakes. Why would mean old St. Patrick do that to them? He made those snakes homeless." And I realized I had convinced all the children of St. Patrick's Church that St. Patrick was a horrible person. And that they were all going to go and tell their parents and the rector that I had taught them that St. Patrick was a terrible person. All humor aside, all humor of this story aside, we don't gather together here in the church on Sunday morning to celebrate why St. Patrick was so great. We're here to celebrate why Jesus Christ is so great. And it's an opportunity for us, when we look at a saint like St. Patrick, to be able to see, how did Christ's light shine in him? How was he a saint because of the great things he did, or was he a saint because of the great ways that Christ worked through him in the world? Now, Patrick himself was a man, born in the British Isles in the 5th century, and as a youth, cared nothing for the church, cared nothing about God. His father was a deacon, his grandfather had been a priest, but he wanted none of it. Didn't believe in Jesus Christ, wanted nothing to do with it. And one day he was out sailing, and while he was out sailing, he was raided by pirates, captured and sold into slavery. And in the midst of his slavery, in the midst of the darkest, most despairing time in his life, that's when God stepped into his life. That's when he found himself praying to God for the first time, reaching out and feeling the presence of God. Christ reached out to him in that moment. Christ didn't pick him up out of his slavery and take him out of it, didn't take it away from him, didn't take away his burden. But what he did do was he showed him that he would never be alone. That no matter how dark things got, no matter how despairing he felt, he would never be alone. That he was always worthy of love. And that even if the people around him didn't choose to love him, he would always be worthy of love, and his God loved him. And he knew beyond the shadow of a doubt that he was a child of God. That sustained him, that got him through his trials. And when he did get freed from his slavery, he went right back home and said, "I want to be a priest. I want to be a part of taking that love that Christ gave me, that sense of never being alone, that sense of deeply being loved and worthy of love. I want to take that gift that was given to me, and I want to share that with others. Be a part of bringing it to others who felt like they were in the same loneliness or despair that I was." So he committed his life to that. He let Christ shine through him. He was ordained a priest. He was consecrated a bishop. and was sent to Ireland to be a missionary bishop in Ireland, where he was primarily responsible, if not single-handedly responsible, for converting Ireland to Christianity. He went to the pagan Celtic people and converted them to Christianity because he reached out and touched their hearts with the love of Christ, with the overwhelming power of this idea that we are deeply loved by our God and worthy of love. And that no matter where we go, no matter what we do, God will always be there with us. That resonated within them so deeply that the whole Ireland, island became Christian, practically in one lifetime. And so we do owe a great debt of gratitude to St. Patrick for this lesson, a lesson of what it means to take the love of Christ that has been given to each of us, how we can take that love that we've been given and not just keep it to ourselves, but go out and find others who need it and share it with them. Yes, we do owe a great gratitude of St. Patrick for that. But let us remember that it's Christ who came to him. It's Christ that came to all of us. And it's because of the power of God working through us in this world that amazing things can happen. So maybe we will never, as we gather around here, maybe we'll never have, St. John or St. Darla or St. Rosemary, who's known for going and driving all the snakes out of Texas, right? Maybe that won't happen. Right? But we do know that we can all be saints in this world. Saints in this world who take the love that God gave us, that Christ instilled within us, and share it with those around us. So thanks be to God for St. Patrick, and thanks be to God for Jesus Christ working in all of us.